What's up, guys? My name is Khan and we're back today with more Scrap Mechanic, and today we are doing something awesome with one of the challenge mode parts, and that is of course the ball part here. A while ago when the devs first came out with the satellite dishes, which was this part here, someone had actually taken these and made a spherical sort of ball out of them and then turned it into a car that used thrusters to drive. And I thought, well, since we actually have a ball part now, I wonder if we could take this and make a car that drives on spheres. And of course, I decided to make a few different versions of this just to sort of test it out, but it does actually work. So this is the initial sort of tank drive sphere prototype. And you're probably gonna say, well, there's no balls there, and that's true. But if we hold one, you can see there's actually 4 ball spawners from that challenge mode parts. And then they kind of get jammed underneath these little sort of hand claw guy thingies. So there's 4 wheels and it uses an electric motor tank drive system. So each set of wheels is on a double bearing and it just kind of goes straight through like that. And the wheels can either be powered forward and backwards, which in turn will spin the ball in one direction or the other. And believe it or not, it actually works great. So we've got a little bit of mod pack logic just to create a flawless WS converter and AD converter. And if we hold W, it actually, you can see, will spin the balls, and it basically drives the wheels in reverse to spin the ball forwards. But it is a very simple tank drive system, so of course holding W drives forward, S will spin you in reverse, and then we can hold left and right to sort of rotate on the spot. And again, that's just by spinning each ball in one direction or the other. You can hear the balls as they spin. They actually have this sort of weird sound that kind of comes out of them. So that's kind of cool, but it is a very cool sort of driving system, and it is a really, really cool way to drive around. It feels very much like you're driving on ice. There's not really good friction between the whole creation, so you can see when we stop, even though the balls stop moving, it kind of slides a lot, and when you try and take turns, it does sort of, you know, drift through the turns. It doesn't exactly go straight, but it's a really, really cool device, and it is kind of bulky. So after this prototype, which sort of proved that it would work, I decided to make a smaller version. And originally I thought, you know, let's use some pistons. With this prototype, there's actually a little bit of space between the ball and these sort of guards here. So if we do lift it up on the lift, for example, if you drive it off a cliff or something, you can see the ball won't actually fall out of this. There's not enough space for it to fall out, which is great. But the problem is if we try and go forward here, you can see the wheels spin, but they're not actually making any contact with the ball. There is a little bit of a gap there. And so I tried to fix that with some pistons, and of course made this sort of creation, and it doesn't really make a difference. It seems like if you jam the ball right up into the wheels so that it does spin, it actually glitches out and it doesn't spin at all. The ball kind of gets jammed, it doesn't really spin properly. So you always need a little bit of space, and if you have that little bit of space, just like before, the balls, you know, if we try and go forward, you can see they don't make contact. So I decided to get rid of the pistons just to save on a little bit of the lag, and that's kind of where this final prototype came about. Now you'll notice with these ones that the holding mechanism for the ball is much, much smaller. It's actually just these 4 pipe pieces that make contact here, and this works perfectly. Just like the other one, you can actually lift it up and none of them will fall out no matter what. We can actually hit it with a hammer as well, and it still can't get knocked out sideways. So it's a really, really cool system. Now, these two are identical, except this one doesn't have suspension, that one does, and this one also doesn't have a drag reducer block. In this case, we actually have 4-wheel steering, and we turn each of the ball assemblies to drive in whatever direction we want. So it's really, really cool. We can drive straight, and then of course it can just rotate, and it's still very, very slow. The friction of the ball on the ground, it doesn't get a lot of good traction, and you can see we're actually gonna probably slide back into this pit. Can we even make it out of this hill? I don't think we can. The friction of these balls is so bad. They have literally 0 traction. Yeah, like look at this. We can't even make it up the slightest hill. It's, oh my goodness. Okay, is this, maybe if we get a run at it, can we get out of here? It's very, very terrible. Of course, the other problem too is because this vehicle has no suspension, if one ball comes off the ground, it provides no additional traction. So you need to have all of them on individual suspension pieces, and it really doesn't move very quick. So I kind of said screw it to this prototype, and it came out with the final version. And I think this is the one I'll upload to the workshop for you guys to take a look at. Now, it does use 2 mods. It uses the challenge mode parts, obviously, to get the ball spawners and to get the balls that'll deploy into these little slots. And then it uses the engineer's mod pack, which is that mod pack that gives us the lovely drag reducer block and a few other things. And the reason why is if we put a drag reducer on this vehicle, it seemingly makes it a lot better. The balls, because they don't have a lot of good friction, you don't really get a lot of speed, but with the drag reducer block, you can kind of build up that speed a little bit more, and it makes for just a much better vehicle. So this is sort of the final version. You can see we've also got some really weird sort of suspension on each of the arms, and it just gives us the ability to have that much better traction. Each arm is on its own sort of suspension piece, and it just helps keep everything in contact as you go around corners. And this one, again, it still doesn't build up a whole lot of speed. It's not as fast as a normal vehicle. Now, because we have the drag reducer block on this vehicle, it actually slides much more than the other one. So even if we stop, you can see we'll slide for much, much further, even though the balls stop spinning. And it actually makes it drift absolutely crazy. So you can see we're still sliding sideways. We still have some of that sideways momentum. And it just makes for a really, really fun vehicle to drive around. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, to be perfectly honest, but like just absolutely awesome. And I can't really think of a practical reason to use this sort of driving method with the ball driving vehicles, but I think it's really, really cool. And of course, I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. The main objective I found with this build is I really wanted to actually make a vehicle that drives by spinning the ball, not by doing anything else, not by using thrusters. This is actually electric motors spinning those wheels, which in turn spins the ball. And you can see, like, the drifts are awesome. It's the ultimate drift vehicle in Scrap Mechanic. We can just literally line ourselves up straight and hold forward, and it's still sliding sideways. Like, that drag reducer block just makes it absolutely awesome. And the fact that the ball has literally no traction. It's the coolest thing in the world. Just like the previous one, it's not a really good hill climber. The ball friction is sort of an issue, but it is really, really fun to just sort of drive around on. And it, you know, it can handle some bumps. I mean, it's not, you know, see, it does okay, I guess. I don't think we can get up that hill, but we can try it and see what happens. So let's just kind of loop through here. Drift. Yeah, no, that's okay. It's very, very difficult to go. Okay, straight. All right, here we go. We should be able to do this, I think. I think the drag reducer block helps a lot. You don't have, you know, the friction pulling you back. It still has, you know, some friction, and it still will slow down eventually, but I mean, we can kind of actually do this. The suspension helps too, of course, because it keeps all four balls in contact with the ground at all times, which is super, super useful to maintain that traction. Oh yeah, we can do this. Look at this. That's awesome. It's not the greatest hill climber, but I can totally do it. And then, of course, going down the hill is just going to be fantastic. Just kind of drift this turn. Just drift. You know what? That's fine. We'll just go backwards. And then we'll just... Oh, look at that. Yes, perfect. Oh, God, don't hit that. Now we hit that. That's fine. This would be a ridiculous race, I feel, but it would be very, very difficult. I will say, if you have two of these vehicles collide with each other, it is a little bit laggy. Each ball is disconnected from the vehicle, so if you do happen to, for example, screw it up and have to put it on a lift or something like that, which actually we can do now, but you'll see what'll happen. If we put it on a lift, the balls will just keep rolling for a bit, and then eventually they'll stop, and we'd have to delete them all manually. Now, the reason why this is a little bit of a problem is if you have two of these vehicles go close together, it's really like 5 different vehicles here in one spot, and the other one combined, it just becomes a really big lag fest. So they're kind of cool, but you want to make sure that you kind of delete the balls when you're done driving one around. Otherwise, you know, two of them together, it's okay if they stay separated, but when you come into contact, there's definitely some weird stuff that happens, but a really, really fun vehicle to drive around. And of course, we can do crazy tricks. So let's see if we can just spin here. I need some open space. Let's just drift through here. Come on, don't, no, clip that. It's fine. I'm a really bad driver. Of course, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below of this ball riding vehicle. You can download it from the workshop. I will include the link in the description. I mean, I think it's a really, really cool concept. It's not extremely practical. I mean, the wheel assemblies kind of have to be quite large, but I think it's pretty cool, and it's definitely a fun vehicle just to drive around just for, you know, the sake of doing it. It's just so cool. Like, I mean, it's like literally just like the ultimate drift machine. I mean, this is ridiculous. We can just keep spinning. I keep alternating between reverse and forward to keep maintaining that forward speed, but look at that. We just keep reverse, forward. It's so awesome. And then just drift around that tree. Oh yeah, perfect. And then go back into it and do it again. Look at that. Reverse, forward. Yeah. This vehicle's so cool. It's definitely one of the most fun vehicles to drive. I mean, there's a lot of cars, you know, in Scrap Mechanic, and even like rally cars and stuff with crazy suspension. at the end of the day, they're all still cars. This whole ball driving mechanism, it just doesn't feel like a car anymore. It's like a hovercraft that's not a hovercraft. It's very difficult to explain, but I encourage you guys to check it out on the workshop and let me know what you think in the comments down below. All right, so before we go, I feel like there's a couple things we need to do. Number one, I'm sure people are very curious. What happens if you press the 1 button and there's already balls spawned? Really not too much. I mean, you press it and they kind of go flying out and you just go shooting up into the air. And yeah. I mean, you could use it as a, I don't know, a thing. Kind of weird. But it doesn't really do anything. I mean, now we just kind of litter the map. And then, of course, we just got to delete these, put it back on a lift, flip it back over. So you don't really want to press it because obviously you're just going to litter your map. But, you know, you press it once, hold it, wait till they spawn, and then let go of it, and then you're good to go. Other than that, it's just WASD. Before we go, though, I really want to test this thing's hill climbing capability. I know the other ones are really, really bad at it, but this one with the drag reducer, I feel like it can do it. So we're just going to try and drive up this mountain here. And I haven't tested this. And of course, this is super, super drifty. So we just got to make sure we don't accidentally slide off the side here. You can see just takes ridiculous corners. Okay, line up straight. Get some momentum. All right, that's good. It's good so far. You can feel it definitely slow down. I don't know. This is pretty steep. Oh, come on. Come on, you can do it. We just got to stay to like the shallow parts. Oh yeah, it can totally do it. The suspension definitely helps, keeping all 4 balls in contact all at once. It's definitely important. Uh-oh, 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 come on, come on, come on. This is max electric engines, by the way. I can't speed the engines up anymore. These are literally max speed engines. There's actually nothing we could do. Are you serious? It can't climb this. Okay, maybe we can we go over to the side here and get a run at it, maybe? Oh, that was nothing. That was no speed at all. Come on, we can do it. Get up onto this little lip. Come on. Come on. Come on. I don't think it can do it. I don't think it can do it. All right, so I think we can safely say that this vehicle is not good at going up hills and it's mediocre at going down hills at best. But I encourage you guys to download it from the workshop. Check it out. It does really feel like you're flying on ice, and it's really, really cool to try going and just sliding everywhere. I mean, you can see, like, I'm trying to turn and we're just drifting into the wall. It's absolutely awesome. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And while you're at it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time.